There you go. Unmute me. That helps. Thank you. Welcome, Hornet fans, to Hornets Live, presented by American Pie Pizza. And we're back on our regular night, and we've only got a few episodes left before we wrap up basketball season. So I want to say thanks so much to everyone who's joined us this season. Hope you guys have enjoyed the show. We've enjoyed having Coach on every week. And you got a little break last week. We got to get the mop in here. So how was it getting a nice little break from the show for a week?
It was good. Extra night to do grad school work, so it was good.
There you go. Work for work. So either way, you get to do something. So we'll have Colby Garland joining us here shortly. He may just skip out. I ate all the nachos. He may be mad about it. So, but Colby should be here in a few minutes. He'll hop up here and join us. The final week of the regular season, and you surprised, or it seems like it got here quickly. I guess we all think that, though, when you're going through the season. But it's been a wild one, but already to the final week of the season.
Yes, sir. For me, the seasons, it's kind of like raising my kids. When I think about the beginning, it seems like it was so long ago, but then when you think about everything that's happened, it's like it's just flown by, and so it's I don't know.
Yeah, football season kind of went that way as well, so it's been nice, and as we're getting ready to transition into spring sports, so a lot of things happening. I know we talked a little bit last week about what's coming up. I know the softball benefit game has been canceled, but both teams, both baseball and softball, start regular season play on the 28th or 26th. I think that's right. The 28th, Monday. Yeah, 28th. The baseball team will play a benefit game against Russellville Thursday night.
If it doesn't get rained out.
Yeah. So we had thought about doing that game, but I saw the weather was supposed to be like 40 degrees, and we've done that once before, and our camera people shaking his head over there. He's like, not doing it again. So it's the one time Matt had to go hide in my truck during a game because the wind was so bad. It was a rough night. So, but you guys get out and join us this spring, as we're going to have a lot of fun. This spring is both baseball, softball, and soccer will get going here real soon, as well as track. So, look, I think they go to Indoor State on the 26th, so big opportunity for the track team to get their season off right. So, looking forward to that, and again, we appreciate everybody joining us this season. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a fun season, and now you get to that point of the year where everything really matters. You really got to start playing well. You really want to be playing your best basketball. And how do you feel like at this point? Do you think you're turning into that best part of the season, or is still some work to do as we go through this final week?
I think we have played the way we want to more frequently than we did early in the season. We're still not to the point to where we're doing it consistently enough for the entire game, but we are trending in the right direction. Of course, these two games this week, they really don't mean anything because we've pretty much secured the 2 seed, but like you said, you do want to be playing good basketball going into the postseason, and that's all we've talked about the guys. Talk to them about all season. Is all that matters is what you do in the postseason. So.
Yep. So, also, we've seen these great pizzas here all week. I'm going to move my computer down so I can see it. But I don't know if the camera's got a great view of that, but we got the Ed and Stu's barbecue pizza. If you guys have watched us enough, this is probably my favorite or second favorite. It ranks right up there. I mean, the Buffalo Chicken Ranch is really good. Every pizza here is really good. And my wife, and even Andy now, this is a surprise. They have a cauliflower pizza. So if you're trying to watch the carbs, the cauliflower pizza is apparently really good. These guys all say it's good. I'm still not worried about carbs, as you can tell. So I'm going to eat my full flavored pizzas. But we enjoy every pizza these guys bring us, and we say thanks to Tamsy and her folks for taking such good care of us every week, as Easy Money is about to jump up here with us. So we appreciate Colby joining us, and we're just not getting into it, man. Headset's behind you. So
about time.
I changed things up on you this week.
Gotcha.
I had to change things up on you. We changed the way the show lays out this week, so gonna do it all at one time. So appreciate you joining us, Colby. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
Good. Coach Garland, I think we're maybe starting to get there. So you got your first experience. We'll talk about that a little bit too here later in the show. So hard to believe it. We talked about it, final week of the season, but let's look back at last week. 2 more big wins last week over Hall and Benton, making it 5 in a row now. And got to feel good at least about that. You're playing well enough to get 5 straight wins and be right where you want to be here at the last week of the season.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We came out of the week with 2 good wins. Unfortunately, one of our goals for last week was to not have anyone injured, and we weren't successful there. But thankfully it's not anything major, and hopefully they'll be back this week.
And thankfully, obviously, this late in the season, you do have to worry about that. Obviously, as you go into postseason play, one loss, you're done. But, you get late in the season, you're always worried about just those little injuries starting to creep up. I know Colby's dealt with some forearm stuff and different things. You've got a couple guys obviously missing Nico on Friday night against Benton and with the ankle injury and then a few other things. So hopefully everybody's healthy. And if nothing else, we can use this week to make sure everybody's healthy as we get ready to go into the state tournament next week.
Yes, sir. And, it'll be the last week. The nice thing, like I said about seeding not being on the line or anything like that is it'll be a good chance for us, too, to give some of those other guys that little bit of extra experience. Going into the state tournament, we'll play on Thursday, and then if we win Friday, if we win Saturday, so playing 3 consecutive days, they'll get into their legs, and so we may have to rely on some of those guys, that typically don't play as much. So if we can get them that experience this week, then that'll be big, so that the first time they're seeing major important minutes in the state tournament.
Yeah. So, first was a win last week over Hall, and the excitement level to play Hall has to be a little low coming into that. And I mean, I don't say that to pick on Hall, but it's unfortunate to where that program is, especially considering the history of Hall and how good they've been. But it did seem like, and really it's been this way even when they were at our place. We came out maybe a little bit flat, maybe whether it was flat or just trying to do too much early, but first quarter where it was, a little closer than maybe it should have been. How hard is it to keep your team focused heading into game day against a team that struggled as bad as Hall has?
It's a challenge. On what we did, we actually tried to change it up a little bit on Monday's practice. We split the teams up and let them scrimmage, and we told them before, we said whoever wins the scrimmage, that's who starts. Just trying to, because they know, there was no coach talk in the world is going to get them fired up for that game.
Right.
And so, we use that as to try to motivate them. Wasn't real successful, and you saw how the game went.
Well, Colby, to that point as well, as a player, when you guys come into a game like that, is the idea of like, okay, we know we should play well. Is there extra pressure to make sure you play well?
Oh, sir. It's something about teams that's not there talent-wise. We come out and we had usually play down the competition. Being young, and that's what happens. So just coming out, trying to make highlight plays and different things like that. But Coach Shook did a good job before the game telling us not to get hurt. But like you said, some things happen. But it's very tough to try to play against a team like that that you know that you're going to come out and you're going to blow out. Mm-hmm. So you just come out of slacking and try to do your own thing.
But it can be obviously in the second quarter. It can be fun too, because when you do get a few of those highlight plays going,
yes,
that's got to at least get you guys going. Maybe focus you a little bit, and it seemed that way in the second quarter because you guys played with a little more focus. KT had the big dunk on the run out, and you guys seemed to really have a lot of fun as you were able to build a second quarter lead.
Yeah, so that was a big time play right there, and we fed off his energy from then on out. So just one big play just made us come together and just have high energy.
I know there's, we act surprised when we're calling the games, or we are surprised, not act, we are surprised sometimes. We've seen Dexter be able to fly like in the way he has at times, but seeing KT on that play, I really thought he was going to pass. He's been a little, he's been pretty unselfish as of late where he's been able to, the extra passes, but in that situation, he went to the rack. Is that something you guys see at practice, KT being able to do, or is that just something?
I've seen it before in AAU. I've been playing with KT for a little while at practice at AAU, after practice, I seen the athleticism is there, so he just went down the middle of the paint. I guess he was angry about the way we was playing because he told us when we got on the court, he was like, hey, man, we supposed to be out by more than this. He did a good job of leading us and telling us. And so when she dunked it, he made that face, and we was like, oh, yeah, he for real.
He was playing hard in that moment for sure, Coach. What's it like to see a guy like that? And you said it yourself, maybe a player-led team. You want to see these guys be able to get out of situations and move forward when things maybe aren't going the right way. And to see a guy like KT kind of take over in that moment, that's got to make you happy as a coach.
Absolutely. That's one thing that you can often count on KT for is to provide that energy, that – just the enthusiasm and his love for the game, it's infectious. And when he, especially when he gets a dunk or something like that, like it's contagious for everybody on the team.
So I know that we talk a lot, and one of your favorite things is that how you guys as a coaching staff are unlike any other staff in the state. And then on the last Hall game, we got to have some fun with the substitutions and everything in the final part. This time was even more. It was even different. It was a lot different. So we come into it. Number one, you guys came out in the second half starting freshmen and JV guys. There was none of our normal starters on the floor, and you didn't have to play any of those guys in the second half. And I think the impressive part to me, I know running clock, all that good stuff, but you only have 2 points in the second half. How impressive was that?
Yeah, that was big time. We told those guys that they were playing the whole second half, so I think that probably helped alleviate some stress, because there are some times, in the past where I put them in the game, and if something goes wrong, in a timeout, I get on them and, hey, if you do this, if you give up this or you do this or don't do this, you're coming out. Whereas I think letting them know at half, you're playing the whole second half, so just go hoop, go relax, play, run our stuff, and I think that helped just ease the nerves for those young guys, and that was big. They locked down and played good defense, and like I said, held them to 2 points.
Yeah, and you talk about, we talked about, they're talking about the first half and trying to keep people healthy. That's got to help too with legs and this late in the season, to know that you can play a whole second half of ball. You got 16 minutes here where these guys are not going to have to wear your legs out.
Absolutely, and the other thing that I was really happy to see in that game was when those guys were in, these guys were engaged and encouraging them and very supportive, cheering them on, and that that's big, because those guys don't, we've got so many really good seniors that those young guys haven't seen a lot of playing time this year, but when they did get that opportunity, I really appreciated the senior support for those guys.
Talking about staying engaged, so Coach Garland over here got to get his debut as a sideline coach. How do you feel that went? Do you think you led the team well there in the third
Yes,
quarter?
sir. Like you said, second half we gave up 2 points.
That's right.
So I'm a very good defense coach, I believe. So I drew up a couple plays for us that we didn't get set up and run. But
well, how about this? How about tomorrow? You don't play in the game. You just be our defensive coordinator, and I'll be the offensive coordinator. I'll call the offense.
No, let's switch it then. I want to be the offensive coordinator.
You just said they don't run
But
the plays, so
it was hard though. But we didn't run they didn't run the plays, but they still hoop. I tried to draw up some sets for them to run, but they won't run them. So now I see how you feel.
yes.
Let's say that should have been a great.
Everybody's getting a chance to coach now.
Right, there you go. Just give them each about a 5-minute stretch and let them draw some stuff up and see what happens. Now you can go back to the guys and be like, look, we got to do better than this. This is annoying.
It's tough, Coach. Tougher than what I thought it was.
What was tougher, getting the guys to run the sets that you want them to run, or dealing with the officials that wanted you to sit down?
Man, I wasn't studying them officials. Officials get out of my face or whatever. I was just, my boy Jeremiah. Trying to tell him to get set up. He was our point guard right then, so I wanted him to be my point guard, to initiate the offense. I trusted in Jeremiah to get the offense set up. As soon as he got for the rebound, I'm like, hey, slow it down. Let's get into the set. He gone. He gone. So I'm just telling him to slow it down, but it's fine. I wouldn't study the referees, though. The referees, one of them was cool, but the other one, he was just hating, so.
He was a Hall graduate, I think, too. So that probably tells the real story. But so you guys would obviously get a big victory there. 70-28 was the final in that one, and it did what you're supposed to do in the first game of the week.
Yes, sir.
So second game of the week was against the pesky Benton Panthers. We know what we're going to get every time we play this Panthers team. They always play us hard. Friday night was no different. And early on it seemed like we might be able to have our way, building an 11-point lead in the first. But Benton would end the first on an 8-0 run and would close the gap to 16-13. What was the difference at the end of the first that really allowed Benton to get back into the game?
Well, early in the game they started out in their 3-2 matchup, and we, Colby and them guys, they were able to pick it apart. We got wide open looks. Guys were knocking down shots. And then Coach Hendricks, he's a really good coach, Dexter Hendricks over at Benton, and he did what he had done when they played here. He switched to that triangle and two. The triangle and two gave us some trouble here, and he played it sporadically, and we had talked about it. We'd worked on some things in practice to be prepared for it. And Colby, I'm sure you're going to talk about his stats in a minute, but he did a phenomenal job against that triangle and two, and that the team as a whole, it took us a minute to adjust. At the end of the first quarter, we drew up, a couple little sets and actions that we were going to do against it. We got some open looks, some fell, some didn't. But yeah, they, credit to, like I said, to Dex. He did a good job in making the adjustment, and then and I know you're going to talk about it, but then we made the adjustment too, because then we made another run.
Yeah, I mean, you guys. So I mean, the run would build to 17-6 midway through the second, and Benton would eventually get the game tied at 22. And then, but it seemed obviously you guys were having a tough shot getting some shots to fall. But then again, we talk about the triangle and two, and Colby, playing against that triangle and two. What really is what's the difficulties with that type of defense and getting you guys game going?
Just getting the ball in my hands, trying to make plays for others. It's hard to get the ball to when they're denying you. When I'm not on the ball, I'm walking all the way in the corner, and they're 3 passes away, and they still denying. So you got to use a lot of energy and a lot of legs to get open. So when I get open, trying to kind of dead in the legs, trying to make a play, trying to make a shot, and they picking up the whole length of the court. So it's kind of tough. But I watch film on people getting play triangles and twos, and you got the V cut, and you got to be in good shape to go against that type of defense.
Mm-hmm. And that should be a place where you guys really should be able to have a lot of success. I mean, obviously, a very in-shape team. This is what you guys are built on, is being able to run with people and to really be able to get ahead of people. And so you hope that in those situations, obviously, your legs will hold up and that you're able to beat that type of defense.
Absolutely. And we talked about, like I said, various different ways to beat it. And because, we do expect other teams will try to use that going forward. And there's a couple of different things. We talked about how, Colby and Carl, every now and then it's okay to rest, and we'll play 3 versus their triangle, and our 3 is going to be better than their 3. And we also talked about, using screens, coming off of those screens and things like that to get them open shots. And also we talked about them setting screens for guys so that when the guy guarding them and the triangle guy have to figure out, are they going to switch when somebody's wide open, or are they going to stick with them, and whatever decision they make sure it's the wrong one, and so we worked on those things, and like I said, fortunately we were able to get some good looks, just a lot of them didn't fall.
Yeah. Well, and, we talked too. I know I talked with Toombs in pregame and postgame, and one concern that we had was maybe a little bit of a size mismatch without Nico being available with the ankle injury. But it looked like you guys as guards really kind of took that as a challenge, because the rebounding numbers were pretty impressive for a team that really, you guys played really well on the boards in that game.
Yes, sir. We was in the locker room, I promise, right before the game. Coach Shook told us, he said, Colby and Carl, we need y'all to rebound. We was missing – really, all our rebounds came from mostly, and he challenged me and Carl to go out and get boards, and Carl did a good job on his part, and I tried to get in there and get some boards my own. So
Carl's a guy that you're used to playing with. Obviously, you've played a long time with him. You know what he likes to do on the floor. He went in that little stretch there after the Parkview game, with 30-plus in back-to-back games, was really filling it up on that side of the stat board. Here the last couple of weeks or the last couple of games, the scoring has come down a little bit, but the rebounding has really climbed. Another double-digit rebound game out of him. Talk about how big it is to see Carl. If he can't score, he's going to pick it up in another way.
Yes, sir. Like you just said right then, Carl is learning the game, and going to the next level. He understands that some nights his shot won't be on. Some nights he won't get as many looks as he want. But, got to contribute in different ways to help the team win. So he did a good job of doing that, and just continue to do what he got to do.
Now, from your perspective, obviously a really impressive game, really impressive week. Averaged 18 points a game. You put up 24 in that game. There's some discrepancy as to whether or not you got to the 10 and 10 from statting it back on my side. But I've got you at 24, 9 and 6 is what I had you at. Very close. And but I know your dad had you at a triple double, so somewhere in that number is what we're looking at. But talk about how well you think you played in that game and really leading your team and kind of taking over in a way towards the
I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do, in spurts where we need scoring. I had to go score, and trying to set my teammates up like I was in the triangle. I know one time I got the ball on the right wing. I seen 3 people standing right in front of me, so I was like, somebody open. So just trying to dish to my teammates, trying to put my teammates in good positions to score, and also trying to rebound. But I feel like I still could have played better on a couple things, better defense or whatever. But we'll try to get better from that.
think you were really good from the free throw line. Obviously, I haven't gone, but I think it was perfect. I think it was 100%, 9 for 9, yeah.
Yes,
And some big ones down the stretch. I know, talk about your mentality. When it gets late, we haven't had to see this much this season, these games where we're close. I mean, BB was a 5-point game, but, Benton we were able to really run away from late in that game. Talk about your mindset in that situation of knowing that you're going to have to go to the line and basically take over and win the game.
Yes, sir. Just another day. Me and my daddy get in the gym all the time, and he pressured me. If you miss this free throw, you got these consequences. Just being calm and collected. Just what I was built for.
So you guys would battle in the second. A 17-11 run on your end would build the lead back to 39-33. What was the message to the team at the half, knowing the second half would be much of the same from Benton?
We just talked about execution. We talked about, I felt like in that first half there were times where offensively we looked some of the best basketball we've looked all year as far as sharing the ball. We had multiple possessions where the ball's moving, but it's still finding the right person. A lot of times guys, they hear pass the ball or move the ball, and they just think that I don't want them to shoot. Well, that's not the case. Like, everybody on the team knows who the best shooters are. Everybody, and we want the best shooters to get the most shots. But sometimes it does work out best if the ball's moving and then getting back to them to get a better shot, a better shot or a better look than if it's just them creating on their own. And so, like I said, that was the big thing on offense was continue to do that. And defensively, Cam Harris is a phenomenal athlete, phenomenal player, and he had 28. But even though he did, Dexter White deserves so much credit for the effort and the way he just hounded all night, and made, Cam had to earn every single point, and he got, I think, like 12 of those points from the free throw line. Right. But, just Dex's tenacity on defense, diving for loose balls, all of that. Like, he deserves a lot of credit for that. And Colby picked him up, too, a lot. There were times when, they started setting ball screens for him, and Colby would switch and pick him up. And that was the thing at halftime that we talked about our defense is the effort's got to be there. We've got to make those 50-50 plays. We got to dive on the floor, take the charges, all those little things.
And Dexter, you bring that up, and it's a good point because I think he had 5 or 6 total steals in the game, and it was just impressive to watch. And it was funny. I think somewhere in the third quarter, I said on the call, Dex is having a good game defensively. And then you look up, and Cam's got 28, but he really did. He played extremely well with big-time effort. And I know that's been, a big talking point for you throughout the whole season is defense, defense, defense. Is it easy to feed off of a guy like Dexter who's playing that hard and defending that well?
Yes, sir. What I'm starting to learn about the game is all you need is one person to show just some type of energy, and the rest of the players going to feed off of it. So Dex on the floor, diving on the floor, that just make us turn up with them too. Clapping, talking on defense, getting the help lines, and getting hands up on shots and just making it hard on offense. And so that's what Dex does. He does a great job of it, and it's just what we need.
So a strong start to the second. Get rid of that. Sorry. Strong start to the second half would lead to our guys building a 14-point lead with just 2:45 to go in the third. It seemed at that point we were really rolling right along and had things going kind of the way you wanted them to. Yes,
sir. They responded to everything that we had said at halftime, and I was feeling good because I remembered how the last game, I feel like it was around 12, 14 or so, and then kind of late we just kind of ran. I don't know. I feel like we won by like 20 or 22.
Yeah, it was big.
Like
22, I think's right. Yeah.
And so I was kind of feeling the same thing at that point in the game Friday.
Well, I thought a big turning point in the game, and maybe I yelled too much after I muted our mics, but little frustrating turning point at the end towards the end of the third. Benton would be able to get to within 7. I think you guys, we were up 11, 13, somewhere in there. And then a bucket by Williams, or Old Man Mullet as we like to refer to him. And then a play after that I think a lot of us have wondered. I'm not going to ask you to get in trouble. All I'm going to ask you is, did you get an explanation as to why the technical was called on KT in that moment?
There are some officials that are willing to talk to you, and some that aren't, and some of usually the ones that aren't either won't talk at all or they won't actually give you an answer. They'll just talk to you. And so, no, I did not get a clear explanation. And, going back and watching it, it was one of those things. I don't know what was said. It would have had to have been what was said was the reason for the call, because there wasn't anything else that it could have been. But I felt that if if whatever he said caused the technical, then it was justified that the action from the Benton player probably deserved one as well, because that's
Right.
the reason it happened. And so, in my opinion, it either should have been a double technical or a no call.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. And I think at that moment it really kind of changed things, because obviously it gave him a chance to get a little run, to get the game a little closer there, and then we'd go into the fourth with a 7-point lead off a game that we had been up double, 14 before that. So going to the fourth, you knew that this was a Benton team, even though we were able to pull away from them last time, that you guys were going to get pushed, because Benton's kind of at that moment was in desperation mode. As a senior, as a leader out there, Colby, what's the message going into the fourth as to your guys of like just stay focused in and just keep playing?
Yeah, so you just gotta stay focused. Things not gonna go our way. Adversity gonna hit. So just gotta keep on pushing. Just have determination during the game and just stay the course. Keep defending hard and keep moving the ball on offense. And that's the message that we got. Yes, sir.
Now, obviously going into state tournament play that things just get tighter. I mean, you're not going to go to the state tournament blowing people out. You're going to play better teams. We are fortunate to be matched up with the West, which has got three of the, record-wise, three of the better teams in the conferences. That's going to be a battle in the West this week. But so you're going to get some battles going into tournament play. You think about last year where, I mean, if it's not for a Marion timeout that they called them when they didn't have timeouts left, we were likely not moving on. So how do you feel like your team, I'll ask you first and I'll ask Colby this, but how do you feel like the team responded in that what was a stress situation in the final minute of that game?
They kept their composure. Earlier in the year, we had some issues during timeouts and whatnot internally, and we didn't have that. It was all positive. Come on, guys, we got this. Let's do this. Just everybody was encouraging. Everybody was staying locked in, and I felt like that was a big sign of growth for us.
Colby, how do you think the team responded, just being on the floor with those guys?
We did. I feel like we responded great. I just want to give Caleb Thurman a big shout out. Like I said, that guy was just big time energy, And he got us on the court. He was like, "Come on, let's close this out. Let's close this out." They're not even supposed to be in the game with us. We're better than this. So it just made all of us go harder, and we just closed it out.
And between the two of you, some big free throws down the stretch. Obviously, I know KT missed the one, but he was dealing with some shoulder stuff going on in there, and those were some tough shots to make. So give KT a ton of credit to be able to stand in there and stay strong and knock those shots down. A big part why he was our underdog player of the game. I know your numbers were very impressive. It was close. I looked at Andy. I said, we've had Colby up here a lot. Maybe let's spread the love a little bit. But to get KT up there again was great. And really a lot of it was, KT being able to really tough through that and just to continue to push and get big plays when you need it the most.
Yes, sir. Just KT's, like I said, a phenomenal athlete, tough, and just get it out the dirt. He knows work hard, and they got to be mentally tough to play through that. He could have just quit it when he missed a couple free throws and been like, "Oh, my shoulder messed up. Coach, sit me out." But he kept on fighting through it. He told us he was going to keep on fighting through it, and he did what he said he was going to do.
So Cam Harris 3 was good at the buzzer. That set the final score at 84-83, but thanks to those free throws, it didn't matter. 84-83 is a win, just like 84-81 would have been, or 84-80 would have been a win. So congratulations on getting the victory. And then now we focus on the final week of the season. And it's, you and I talked about it to open the show, but I mean, it's here, final week of the season. I mean, how much does it mean to you so far to look ahead and go, man, this is it, last week of my senior year?
I'm trying not to look ahead, man. My daddy always told me, son, it's going to go by fast. And thank God for letting me see it, just getting up to this point, like I said. But it's here. I just feel like I just moved down here, and the season just went by that quick. I'm just lost the words.
How do you feel like your senior year's gone? I mean, I know we've had a lot of fun. Obviously, great record. You've had some great stats, but playing with a new team and being here at Maumelle, how do you think I guess give us a recap of how you feel your senior year's gone?
I mean, it's going to, a lot of ups and downs. I'm not going to sit up here in front like it's not. It's been ups and downs, but I just got to stick through it. And I've been having good friends, Coach Shook here and the rest of the coaches keep me motivated, and my dad and my family. And so it's been a great senior year. I couldn't picture no better.
Now, I know obviously still a lot to play with for, so we're not looking too far ahead. But I do want to talk because you've had some offers coming in over the last few months. Any visits lined up yet? Any plans as far as what you're going to do once the season's done?
I just taking it one day at a time. I thought about the future just a little bit. Me and my dad talk about it, but I ain't gonna discuss it. But I got some big plans coming.
Good.
I got some big plans coming. Yes, sir.
How hard is it? Obviously, this is such a weird time. I think we've talked to every kid we've had up here, every guy from football to now, talking about recruiting and the process. Sir. And with the transfer portal being what it is, and some coaches putting all this value in guys that have experience and veteran-type guys, and then you got some coaches that put a lot of value in younger guys. From your perspective, just talking to coaches or talking to different teams, what's that process been like for you to go through that?
I mean, there's countless a number of colleges I have talked to. On every level, I talked to a lot of D1, a lot of D2, JUCOs, and I mean, like I said, I got the couple offers or whatever. But it's like I said, the transfer portal is killing. They're gonna go to, they're gonna look in the transfer portal, and they're gonna look at JUCOs, then they're gonna look at prep schools, and then the high school athletes are the last one to come in, which I don't blame them. You coming in, you trying to get a freshman. You don't know what you can get out the freshman, but you a 2-year player that been over there at somewhere else, they could transfer here. He's bigger, stronger. He's not been a problem in the classroom, and it's been tough. But just like I said, just stick through it all. Yes,
I know some guys, and I've seen this some, and I know we talk about it a lot throughout the different folks that cover recruiting and things. But one thing that always comes up is guys, if you're not getting D1 offers, you're not focused on anything, you're not worried about it. But you look at with the way the transfer portal works in your scenario, maybe heading to whether it be a prep school or a JUCO or something like that's going to give you that opportunity to now be that veteran and maybe get to where you want to be. Is that somewhat of the mindset for a guy like you? I'm not going to ask you to tell us what you're going to do in the future right now, but is that somewhat your mindset is looking at it going, okay, maybe we change the way we think about the path forward and look at smaller schools that can give me an opportunity to move up?
Yes, sir. Look, my dad made me change my mind on there. I'm so set on D1 now. I want to go D1. I want to be playing on TV. I want to play against the best of the best. I want to get recruited. I'm trying to go to the next level after college. But, everybody had different paths. JUCOs, prep schools, they're not bad. Like, even a prep school, not using your eligibility in college, and that's another year of development. I could develop my skills another level, and then, I can go to JUCO after that, maybe. That's another year of development. Then you go to the big level. But if it's going to be meant to be. If it's meant to be, it's going to happen. So either way.
You're right, and I was going to bring that up as well, because obviously you look, anything can happen. I mean, obviously things change here over the next couple of months. Programs will have some sort of opening, coaching changes, whatever, that may give you an opportunity that you may not have. I think about a good friend of mine and a good friend of our family, Jalen Ricks, who didn't have a lot of opportunities coming out of Oak Hill. He's a Sherwood kid and went to Sylvan Hills, went out to Oak Hill. Didn't really have a lot of great opportunities coming home, and then at the last minute, Wichita State steps in there and he gets an opportunity to go play there when he really thought he was going to end up something smaller. So,
yes,
I mean, opportunities will come anytime, so you just got to keep grinding.
Yes, sir. Just keep grinding.
Absolutely. So we look ahead. BB up next tomorrow night, senior night. It's a team that sits at 6-6, and one of 4 teams technically. Although we may have talked our way out of the Benton by record, Benton is sitting there with an opportunity. But I think we talked Benton out of this deal. But either way, you got 3 or 4 teams battling for the final 2 seeds, with the 1 and 2s being wrapped up. So they're going to come into this game desperate, much like Benton did on Friday. And what's the focus for the team, and what's the message as you come into this game, knowing that what you have to play for going forward right now?
Well, you're right. They, if they win tomorrow, they secure for sure a bid to the state tournament, and probably the 3 seed, because they play Hall on Friday, which would give them 2 wins this week, which give them a two-game lead on the others. So they're going to come in extremely motivated. They know how important it is going to be to beat us, and of course, Coach Franks, he's big-time, phenomenal coach, does a really good job. His guys will be prepared. And then, with Riley Marshall being one of the better players in the conference for sure, just superior all-around player. He can score, he can shoot it from anywhere, and he's really surprisingly athletic. Like when you see he catches lobs and will dunk on you and all that. Like he's a really impressive athlete, really impressive basketball player. Of course, Nail, their little point guard, you can't turn him over, or we can't. We hope to contain him, because he does a really good job for them. He gets them in their sets and runs their offense for them, and like I said, doesn't turn it over. And he can score as well. He's got the little floater in the middle of the lane that he can knock down at a really high rate, and he can shoot the 3 as well. And like I said, they're all their kids are going to be bought in. They're going to do exactly what Coach Frank says. I'm sure he's probably watched our game against Benton, so I expect some more triangling too tomorrow. We'll go over it again and make sure we're prepared for that, just in case they throw that at us. I know they typically are a man-to-man team and play some 3-2. So, we've kind of got to be ready for all of it, and we're going to have to give our best. And like I said, we may be down a player or two, still recovering for some injuries. And if we are, we tell them all the time, next man up. So whoever's not a starter is going to be starting, and whoever's usually doesn't play much may have to, we may have to count on them to play some. So guys are just going to step up, and these guys are going to have to continue to rebound and do those things to pick up for those guys. And
BB is one of those, I guess, they're a team that can kind of play either way. We've seen them win 39-36 over Benton. We've seen them beat a Little Rock Christian team 41-39. Then you've seen them play us within 5 in a high-scoring, 80-plus point game. So, what's the mentality for you as a player coming in, knowing that this team played you guys really well before and knowing that they're going to be almost a wounded animal coming out there in this game trying to get to the state tournament?
Yes, sir. We got to just, play hard like we do each and every night. Cannot sleep on anybody just because of their record or just because we got 2 seed locked in. This is for a good time for us to get practice going get ready to go to the state tournament. So we have dog mentality coming out. Just got to play defense and move the ball on offense.
You look at teams that sometimes are sitting at the bottom of the standings that know they have no chance to get in the tournament, and they can play the role of spoiler. Now, I look at this one from the opposite side of that. You guys really can't gain anything. I mean, technically a share of the 5A Central title on Friday if you can win both games this week. But is there any mindset maybe? Obviously, you want to make sure you guys are playing at the best level possible. But is there any mindset there too as a team to go out there and say, you know what, we can play spoiler and ruin their season?
I mean, I'm not the type of guy. I don't like to be mean. I don't have nothing against BB other than what they did to us. But I mean, that's that. But we just trying to get better ourselves. So we just can't. I mean, we can't do it, but that's not the mindset I have.
Just got to play.
Just
come out and play. Do what you
better.
do. Absolutely. So, as knowing that 2 seeds wrapped up, is it hard to keep these guys motivated?
Well, like you mentioned, the opportunity to be co-conference champs, that's something to play for. I mean, that's in this conference. I mean, I know it's not as good as it was last year. Or in some of the years past, but it's still really good. I mean, I mean, Parkview's a phenomenal team, and if we can share, be co-conference champs with them, I mean, that's something to be proud of, and that's something that, that should give these guys a lot of, I guess, mental edge going into the postseason. If we could win both of them this week, be conference co-champs, even though we are the 2 seed, we'd be like a 7, 8, game winning streak.
Yeah, be 7 at that point,
and be rolling into and like you said, playing our best basketball, because that's what it's going to take. If we're going to win 2 games this week, we're going to have to be playing our best basketball.
Yeah, for sure. So as we look at that final matchup on Friday, we get another shot at Parkview. Now, last time we hyped it up. We had a lot of fun here. We're not going to do that this week. I got one thing. The only thing I'll say is, Parkview to this point, they've really not been tested in conference play. Double-digit wins over everybody. I think really the biggest test they've had was last week. They were down 10 to Benton at the half. They ended up winning that game by 10 or 11. So, they just continue to roll along. We know how the last matchup went. So how do you guys, and I'll ask you this first, Colby, how do you guys channel the emotions as you go into their place with hopefully a shot at least getting the Central Conference crown and making sure you guys just play well?
Just being mentally tough. Just knowing what happened last time, and we might be missing, like Coach Sue said, we might be down a player or 2 again, but it's going into that game, it's all about mental toughness. We got to go in with dog mentality, knowing that we can possibly get co-champs. That's something good to say in the 5A Central, this big-time conference up here. So we just got to come in there with dog mentality and just forget what happened last time and live for the moment.
So as we look at the team and as we wrap things up tonight, we look at that. Obviously, I know that it's easy to get really hyped up as a team, as guys that you got beat. You got beat down in that game last time. They were up 20-plus points when you lost by 20-plus. All the craziness at the end. What's your message going to be to those guys to say, hey, let's make sure we lock in emotionally and do the right things this time?
Just settle down and play. Like you said, the energy and everything was the hype was, they bought into the hype, and we uncharacteristically, I think we had 11 or 12 turnovers just in the first half. You know, we've had a lot of games where we don't have that in an entire game. Obviously Parkview's extremely talented. They play really good defense, but some of them were just careless turnovers on our end. You know, they weren't all forced turnovers. We had some rushed shots, some ill-advised shots without running any offense, and our transition defense was horrible. You know, and so I feel like if we'll settle down, run some offense, take care of the ball. And by doing that, even just by getting shots up without turning it over, that gives us a chance to get in our transition defense and get our defense set. And if we're being more patient and running the offense and getting good shots, we're going to make them more, because we shot horribly as well. And so, if we can do those things, then, we give ourselves a chance. And that's what we've got to do. We've got to put ourselves in the best position going into the fourth quarter or going to the end of the game to where we have a chance to win. And in order to beat a team like that, you've got to be on your A game offensively, defensively, transitionally, rebounding. Like, everything's got to be on point. And so that's the thing is what I'm going to tell them. You're going to be locked in. You're going to play hard. I don't need you to do too much. You've got to just settle down and play because like I said, they're going to bring the energy. Like, they're not going to just come lay an egg. It's more of a don't do too much.
Right. So this is a question, speaking of really good teams right now, and I can ask this question since we don't have to play them, but is there anybody that's going to beat Magnolia in 4A?
No.
No comment.
No comment.
No.
Hey, you never know. I want Magnolia to win the state championship.
Well,
my boy Ford and all my people down there, I want them to get them a ring.
Yeah, I know those are your guys. That's why I asked the question.
The city deserves it in Magnolia.
Coach Zach at Morrilton's one of my best friends in the coaching profession, and I would love for him to beat them like they did last year. But
all right, keep on with all that.
But nobody in 4A.
That's why I love Coach
Swift.
Dang.
We'll see if you say that.
Let's get them this time.
I don't know, though. You never know. It don't matter. You can be upset every night. You never know.
They're playing strong for sure.
They're playing at Magnolia, so you already know.
That helps too.
You learned that when you got here. Come on now.
Look, man.
You know.
Camera. Cut the camera. Oh, man.
Whoa, man, I started something with that one. So, well, all right, guys. Well, I'm ready to chow down on some of this Ed and Stu's barbecue
look good
pizza.
right
so
there.
We're gonna tear some of that up, and I'd be remiss if you follow me on social media, you'll see that big old plate of nachos. We devoured those.
And I don't know where they at.
We ate them all, man.
I come in and said, save me some.
Maybe if you were on time, then you'd have got some.
I was 3 minutes late.
To be honest, by the time you said save me some, we'd done finished them. They was gone.
You posted in 2 minutes.
I know. I was hungry.
So you mean to tell me you ate it in 2 minutes?
Hey, man, come on now.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Oh, man. All right, we're going to wrap things up. I'm going to say, guys, thanks for joining us tonight for Hornets Live. Before we go, I want to say thanks to our sponsors this season. We've had a great season, and we wouldn't have these broadcasts without these folks. But Dio Minucci with Cornerstone Home Lending and your Maumelle Small Business of the Year, Acre Family Pharmacy, Underdog Apparel, Lisa George with Remax Elite, G. Farrell Custom Embroidery, Gifts and Apparel, and, of course, the great folks here at American Pie Pizza. And if you're looking for affordable advertising options, give us a shout as we have just about completed our spring schedule, and it's loaded with Hornet baseball, softball, soccer games, as well as a full home slate of the Arkansas Punishers games that are going to be played at Hornet Stadium. So if you didn't know that, March 5th will be the first game for the Punishers that are going to be playing at Hornet Stadium. And I believe they're having a special deal where the parents get half off their tickets. If their kids come, they play in a youth league. So if you come show you play with, I think we have to wear a jersey from your youth league, then you're going to get half off your tickets. So really fun. If you guys haven't seen the Punishers play, it is a lot of fun. It's just it's spring football. It's maybe not the greatest level of play sometimes, but it is entertainment for sure, and these guys play hard, and it's a lot of fun to watch, and we get to watch them right at home. So looking forward to that one.
So if we do our job and we're in the semifinals that day, are you going to be in Sheridan, or are you going to
we're going to be in Sheridan. Matter of fact, we control the game time, so it's like whatever time you guys play, we'll just make sure that they play at a different time. So I'll get with Goodman. If you're watching Goodman, just know that on the 5th we may have to move some things around. So matter of fact, I was going to say too, we may have one big announcement coming later this week, which if you guys, if you want to get in on doing some commentary or something, I may have some fun for you. Come.
What we got?
I can't say it yet, but I can tell you when we're done. But excited about a potential opportunity I'm going to know about on Wednesday. And
be
then
a coach, a commentary,
that's right.
everything.
But looking forward to that one because if that comes to fruition, we'll have a big announcement later this week that's going to completely explode our spring schedule. So it's going to be kind of crazy. So looking forward to that. Will's like, oh, no. Will's going to be – we're going to be working a whole bunch. So anyway, but give us a shout to learn more about the advertising options we're going to have available this spring. And, again, be sure to join us tomorrow night for senior night as the Hornets do battle with the BB Badgers. Good night and go Hornets.
Hey, shout out my nanny Nick. She on her watching. And shout out Easy Money.
Hey, we appreciate it. We get a lot of love from your family and from the Magnolia folks. So we love all of them. We appreciate
Nick.
everybody.
What's up, Nanny?
There you go. Give your shout-outs to all the Magnolia folks. We appreciate everybody that joins us. Thanks, guys, for everything. And we'll see you guys tomorrow night. Go Hornets.